Hey, Facebook. My God, it's been a while. I just want to quickly share this into my group so that the ladies can join us as well. Happy 2020! Oh, can you believe we're halfway through February again? Just like that. I was chatting to somebody yesterday, actually on LinkedIn, and she was saying it just feels as though time is getting faster and faster, the older we get. And I'm like, I don't know, because at this stage of the fight, it kind of just feels like I must be 180,000 years old at the speed that it's going. It's the time for heart. This is really important. I'm really excited about the time that we are living in, just by the way. And the reason I am is because things are changing rapidly in the world and for the better. I know a lot of people are saying that, times are really hard right now. And I know that a lot of people are saying that, things are going down the drain. I don't agree with that. In fact, what I'm witnessing instead is that, yes, things are going south, but it's a south within the body. It's a south from the mind dropping down into the heart. And what I'm talking about really is that for the last few decades, people have been so obsessed with everything that's mindset, including myself. I was in there as well. I was all about mindset. I was all about the high performance, as you guys know. And I loved every single moment of it, make no mistake. But in the process, what really happened was a lot of us disconnected to our emotions. A lot of us disconnected to our feelings. In fact, for a long time, I was in complete denial of my emotions. One of my favorite things to say was always, the only thing I feel is hungry. And that was all that I was concerned about. For the rest, as long as I had my mindset work, as long as I could stay focused, I could do anything. I could achieve anything. And the fact of the matter is, we can achieve incredible results by focusing our minds. But the mind is only one aspect of who we are as people. And when we start understanding that we have to re-embrace all of who we are without rejecting any parts of us, when we can start doing that again, this is when we really start dropping into what is available to us and for us at this time. And a lot of what I'm seeing right now is all about emotional intelligence, but more specifically bringing that aspect into leadership. And when we're talking about vulnerability and when we are talking about emotional intelligence, it's not about walking around with our hearts on our sleeves all of the time. That's not what vulnerability is about. Vulnerability is a softening around the ego without rejecting the ego. We've been making the ego out to be this evil Knievel thing, which is not. The ego, like everything else, is in service to us. And when we start softening around the ego, what happens is we start becoming willing to be wrong. We start to become willing to be curious again. We start to become willing to see things in a new way. And that doesn't happen as long as you're only focused on the mind. Because the mind is the domain of black and white, right and wrong. And yes, we are absolutely being culturalized. Well, my generation anyway, was you start going to school and there was a right answer and there was a wrong answer. And if you dared give them the wrong answer, there was a lot of shaming around that. That is our healing to do. That is our generation's healing to do, which is also why the schooling system is changing. Because the old modality is simply not working for the new generations, and thank goodness for that. because we've become so ingrained in having to be right, of having to be inflexible, that most people completely take themselves out of the game because of how they are being perceived by the world. Like, let's take me for instance. At the end of last year, I decided that I was going to have a Facebook-free 2020. I put it out everywhere and I was saying to people, I'm going to hold an experiment to see what is the impact on my life if I actually go off Facebook for the entire year. I'm back, baby. Why? Because I miss this connection. There's so many people that I have connected with on this platform in a way that I cannot connect with them on the other platforms. Plus, do you know that LinkedIn caps me on 10-minute videos? Like, since when can I only talk for 10 minutes? That in and of itself is insanity. So I could have said, like, I could have gone into ego and goes, no, what are the people going to think if I come back onto Facebook after only 2 months? I told them I was going to be away for a year. That would have been an ego response, which, by the way, would have been a fear response. Instead, like, who gives a shit? The people who want to judge me, the people who want to say, oh, we can't trust Elle because she said she was going to be away for 12 months and she's back because she's got value to provide and she missed us. They're not my people in the first place. So when we start going into the head, the mindset versus the heart set, we understand that a lot of fear can often come in the mindset, which is why the mindset work can feel hard for a lot of people, because you have to overcome the stories, you have to overcome, you have to reprogram, you have to focus harder. It's very energy consuming. Now, if you are already used to consuming a lot of energy, like this is why especially sports people do well with mindset, because they're used to that, then it's fine. But for most people who don't have high levels of energy, that can be really, really draining. The overcoming, the pushing through, the breaking through, all of that really takes energy. Think about it. When you are scared, you have adrenaline pumping through your body. That takes up energy. When we drop out of the mindset work and we start incorporating the heart set work, there's no fear in the heart. Because love ultimately is the opposite of fear. Fear and love cannot coexist in the same space. Now, when we go into dropping into the heart space of where we are, we don't really care about being wrong yesterday. It's not about that. It's about evolution. It's about seeking new evidence that shows you that you are growing and that things are changing in your life. It is the most freeing experience in the world. And here's what I've come to learn as well. Dropping into the heart set has zero fear around it. There's no fear. And when there's no fear, instead of you using energy, you actually receive energy in the process, because you feel supported, you feel safe, you feel expansive, you feel that you belong, you feel appreciated. It is the complete opposite. And so when we start combining the mindset and the heart set work, or the emotional work, there's this beautiful balancing out, which has us show up so much more grounded and powerful and certain and with conviction. And this is where the magic starts happening. Now, a lot of the time, especially for women, they feel very vulnerable to connect to the emotional part. Because for a long time, we were told to suppress our emotions. We were told that if we are emotional, we are out of control, that we were not respected as much because we didn't come across as calm and grounded the way that, our male counterparts could in the boardroom, because we are more emotional beings. But it's our superpower. And in the suppression of the emotion, what happened is like a lot of stuff started breeding down there. Like a lot of things are hidden in the dark, dingy recesses of Never Neverland. And if you are committed to start living a thriving life, honey, you have to dive in there, which, yes, can be scary. And yes, there can be some pain that comes up in that. Which is why I highly recommend that you actually get support in the process. But when you come through on the other side, your life will never, ever go back to what it was. Honestly, you cannot go into thrive and then reverse back to that fear state that's all about the mind. And you wouldn't want to, because all of a sudden what's happening is I am connecting with more and more heart-centered people. And they are the leaders in industry. Are they as visible as some of the, assholes? Well, no, not necessarily, because they don't feel they have to be. They do the work that they came here to do, and a lot of that work is on themselves. This is how I easily spot heart-centered people. Because instead of continuously pointing at what everybody else is doing, they're very focused on sharing their experiences and what they are learning right now at this time. They're willing to experiment on their lives, in their lives. They don't take everything at face value anymore. Instead, what they're doing is they're kind of going, oh, this is really interesting. This looks cool. Let me take that and let me see that if I actually apply that, what happens? What are the results? What are the outcomes in my life? And what do I learn from that? And it's not necessarily because you then want to use that and go share that with everybody else. Instead, what it is you just get to share. You just get to show up as yourself. And you will immediately attract the people that's on a like vibration to you. And that is how we bring true value to the world. It's not about changing the world. It is about continuously evolving ourselves. It's about continuously upgrading ourselves and then just living full out. Because this is an energetic space that we are living in. Now, what do you think is easier? For you to elevate your own energy, or for you to try and elevate everybody else's energy around you? And the only reason people are doing that is because they buy into the belief that we are responsible for other people. And we are not. We are responsible for ourselves. One of the most transformational questions I started asking myself last year is, what would my life look like if I chose to radically love myself? What would my relationships look like? Who would my clients be? What would my home look like? What would my body look like? What would my training regime look like? What would my environment look like if I chose to radically love myself? And when I first started asking this question, it was a little bit of a foreign concept for me. And I'm going to say this as well. Yes, it felt uncomfortable. I wasn't used to loving myself. I wasn't used to think it's okay to be so selfish and focus on my love for me, because I didn't understand how any of this worked. And then as I started filling journal after journal with these kinds of prompts, what I discovered was that if every person actually just started loving themselves and just started focusing on who they truly are and the beauty of who they are, the world would change. Because for one thing, when we truly love ourselves, we are not available for shitty relationships. We're not. I'm sorry. When we truly love ourselves, We are not available for codependent clients or lazy clients for that matter. When we truly love ourselves, we bring a higher standard to our work because we want to make ourselves proud in the process. Which means if you think about it, by loving ourselves, everybody actually gains. Because now people in our space, if they want to be in our space, start upgrading themselves as well. The conversations start changing. The energy starts changing. The activities start changing. And it's just the most beautiful ripple effect that you can possibly imagine. I met my soulmate sister this year because I chose to love myself. And I have to be honest, she's so fucking awesome that a year ago I would have thought, no, there's no ways I can be this woman's friend. Like there's no ways. Like, who do I think I am to be her friend? And now I know who I am. And we absolutely adore each other. And it's the most beautiful, fulfilling friendship I've ever had in my life. The clients I'm working with right now, oh my God. Like, these women are on fire. They're so committed to their purpose. They're so committed